Hi everyone, I hope you've all had a pretty good weekend. I'm doing this second video to follow up on my first one, to talk about the self-alignment coaching and the therapy work that I'm now doing to help people deal with the sources of chronic stress in their lives to help them to heal and to empower and grow by addressing those avoidance patterns when we start running away from our fears that keeps us stuck and stressed. I want to talk more about the emotional anatomy therapy, the therapy modality of emotional anatomy that I use as part of this self-alignment therapy work, because it's such a key aspect of the self-alignment work that I do. The framework itself of emotional anatomy, it comes from the ancient Eastern spiritual traditions, such as those of yoga and Ayurveda from the East, from India. But I also got really attracted to it because in so many ways it also resonates with the spiritual traditions that I come out of from Vanuatu, and also with a lot of our Pacific indigenous traditions that are based on the principle that life is deeply interconnected. There's so many aspects of life that we think are separable, and that we think we can compartmentalize them and distinguish them from each other. But at a fundamental level, life is one. Life is inseparable. So things, for example, like the distinction between the mind and the body, which is such a core premise of most of the Western models that currently underpins our public health system, public education system, and so forth, and also all our economic and political institutions. When it comes to emotional anatomy, and also when it comes to our indigenous Pacific traditions, we start from a very different premise. We start from the premise that life is one, and because of that, what that means more practically for therapeutic purposes is we can't also separate what goes on for us internally when it comes to our emotions, our feelings, our emotional blockages, our avoidance patterns that we might run away from, that we keep on repeating, which keeps us stuck and stressed. We can't actually separate what's going on inside from the way the body is physically structured. So for instance, when it comes to our skin condition, our overall body shape, even the way our skin color, even the way our face is shaped, all these outward physical characteristics are reflective of internal emotional dynamics and psychological personality traits as well. Yeah, so in other words, emotional anatomy starts from the premise that if we take seriously that mind and body are inseparable, then the physical structure of our body manifests and expresses everything that's going on inside us as well, internally. And that's a really powerful place to start from when we do therapy work, when we do personal development and personal growth work, because it means we can keep coming back to the body as the most direct portal for checking how we're actually doing in our lives. So for instance, skin conditions, the way our tissue, the condition of our tissue, do we have dense tissue? Do we have muscle tissue that's wasting away, or that's saggy, or that's dry, or that's flaky? Tissue condition is a huge way of reading the body. And also the other one is alignment. The alignment of our bones, the alignment of our joints, which expresses how well or unwell we can actually move, and how we can demonstrate the functional mobility that we need for basic ease of movement and health and well-being. If our bodies, our bones, and our joints are out of alignment with each other, that literally translates to physical pain, physical restrictions, and also physical disease. And it's really hard to also have mental health and well-being when the body is in these states of chronic pain and misalignment. Yeah. So emotional anatomy is all about bringing us back, to continually bring us back to the body as a way of being able to make sense of the things that we might be dealing with in our wider life. So aside from the inseparability of life, life is one, the inseparability of mind and body, inner psychological dynamics, and outward physical expression. Another really key principle of emotional anatomy is we also can't separate the body and the mind, or the body-mind connection, also from our lifestyle choices and our lifestyle conditions. So in the self-alignment work that I do, I help people to read the body symbolically in order to make sense of, to reconnect with some of the emotional patterns and emotional issues that they might be running away from, because it's going to be written on the body. We also use that as a way of getting clear about what's actually going on in your wider life and key areas of your life. So it's part of this overall lifestyle analysis that we look at using emotional anatomy concepts and tools as well. So for instance, if you're avoiding certain things in your life, let's say in our personal relationships, we're avoiding stuff there. That's going to physically manifest in our body, the physical structure in our bodies, and also it's going to physically manifest literally in the things that we say and the choices that we do, the choices that we make in all these different areas of our lives, because that's how that avoidance pattern stays in place, through the thoughts that we think, which will come out in your speech, and also it'll come out in the actions that we routinely carry out unconsciously, because we're trying to constantly avoid the stress. Yeah. So that's the basic idea of emotional anatomy and why it's so powerful. It treats the body mind as inseparable, and it also treats our lifestyle choices and conditions as part of this body mind connection. So if you want to get really clear about the things that you've been avoiding that are keeping you stuck and stressed, emotional anatomy is a beautiful way to get clear, to get the clarity about what's actually going on in your life. So that's it, whānau. Just wanted to make this short video to talk about emotional anatomy. I'll go into more detail and I'll give more specific examples of how we can start reading the body. But just as an intro, this is what I wanted to share with you guys, and I'll follow up with other videos about where I give examples on how you can read the body, the physical structure of the body symbolically, so that you start to make sense of how it expresses all these inner traits. And I'll also talk a little bit more about how we can use emotional anatomy principles as well to make sense of relationship conflicts and relationship issues. So look out for that. Subscribe to the channel, whānau, if you haven't already, and also check out my website. And if you want to do some work using this modality, get in touch. It's a beautiful system. It's really, really quick to move through these issues. Doesn't take a long time, because things are going to start moving as soon as we start talking to each other. That's the beauty of this practice. So that's it, whānau. Get in touch, and I'll talk to you guys soon.